let's continue. All right, let's move on. It's a good thing I didn't object. Oh! It would be smarter to badger the defendant without concrete proofs. It wouldn't be smart. I love how the game confirms. God, Phoenix Wright crawled so that, shit, what's his name? Something Cross could run. Fuck, what's his first name? I had it a second ago. What was it? What was it? Conrad, yeah. Okay, Phoenix Wright crawled so Conrad Cross can run. There we go. So Conrad struggle. I should remember to keep a level head and approach each situation with care. I'll concede that your method of murder was possible, Cross, but without evidence, we can't yet assume that my client was guilty. Speed with you. Given this fact, we will need to hear more about the defendant's actions at 3 p.m. yesterday. Apollo versus Conrad. We'll take a 5-minute recess to prepare Mr. Coladera for further testimony. Court adjourned. This is way more entertaining than I thought it would be. Through tribulation, I knew that we had only just scratched the surface of what truly unfolded in this case. But I was more ready than ever to see it through, to find the truth. Order. Court is back in session. Master Coladera is still on the witness stand, and we're ready to hear your version of the events that transpired yesterday afternoon. Waste of words. He's running out of nouns to complain about. I think it's about time the court heard the truth of your whereabouts while this crime was committed. The autopsy report states that Mrs. Graviton died at 3:06 p.m. yet precisely. Are you able to recall that time for the court? Yeah, whatever. Excellent. I'd like to cross-examine this testimony, Your Honor. Cross-examination is a special type of testimony that allows the questioning attorney to validate key information using evidence. First, the witness will provide a series of statements to be reviewed by the court. I'll have a chance to recap the info at that time. Then I can navigate back and forth through each line to find the one that contains a contradiction. When I found the offending statement, I can open the court record by pressing tab or clicking the bottom left icon. Then I'll present the evidence that proves that the statement is false. Dora. Permission granted. Please proceed. Here we go. Let's see how much I said I'm innocent. It's such a waste to explain. Okay. There's nothing to really... I acted out at 1 p.m. hoping to find Abby. She was there, hard at work, programming some new routines. Okay. It was a Sunday, so we weren't on our usual working hours. We just wanted to catch up on system testing. Everything seemed okay with her, and I didn't want to interrupt her typing, so we didn't talk much. Around 3 p.m., I left the lab to dispose of some hazardous waste. I didn't return until after a crowd had gathered around the room. So, I think this is a contradiction. He says he left the lab. The lab does not have a lock on the door, but everywhere else does. I assume. A good trade emotes. So if he had to leave to go dispose of waste, he'd have to go through the place. I'm not gonna do it now, but I feel like that's gonna be important. It's a normal procedure, but it happened at the worst time. If only I'd waited just a bit longer. So do you see now? I don't belong here. Okay. I may have to... So you saw nothing out of the ordinary before leaving the room? Like I said, it was a waste of resources to ask my side of the story. There's a pun here involving his usage of the word waste and the literal hazardous material that was just mentioned. But I can't bring myself to think of it right now. So what you mentioned before, was that some sort of chemical byproduct? That's right. After working with industrial materials in the lab, we get rid of them via a designated disposal area elsewhere in the building. We put the waste into a bright yellow container for easier transport. Wait! Oh, wait! It's right there! You bitch! And you didn't notice anything unusual on your way to the disposal area? I already told you, I know nothing that can help this investigation. I want to go home. You don't find it at all suspicious that you were the last person to see the victim before her demise?
Objection.
If the murder had happened the way you described, Abigail would have seen the defendant set up the knife on the robotic arm. She would have just let herself get stabbed with her killer in plain sight. She might have been into that. We're not gonna yuck her yum. Regardless of the exact method of murder, there's no denying that something isn't right with this testimony. I should review each statement and present the evidence that points out to the contradiction most clearly. Dora! I will learn what truly happened to Mrs. Graviton. Yucker. Okay, so at first I thought it was because he had to leave to go somewhere else, but no, the crate is in the room. Okay, there it is. That is the crime scene. I'm gonna present this one.
Objection.
Yep, that's it. Quiz! Mr. Colladera, there's no way that what you said was the truth. What? Well, that's really what happened. No, you couldn't have taken the hazardous material to the disposal area at 3 o'clock. Because this photo proves that the waste container itself was still in the lab at 4 p.m. According to your statement, you didn't return to the lab until a crowd had gathered around the room, having discovered Mrs. Graviton's body. If we assume that the police arrived shortly after and that the scene of the crime was preserved until that point, if you had removed the waste container from the spot in that photo, it wouldn't be possible for you to return it to the lab. So tell the truth, what really happened at 3 p.m. yesterday?
Objection.
You're overlooking a simple explanation. Isn't it possible for a second container to have existed in the lab that we've never seen? We can easily verify that. We just need to ask the investigation team to search for a similar container at the disposal area. Very well. We'll proceed with the prosecution's suggestion. No, hold on. I feel so smart right now. That would be a waste of manpower. I lied. I didn't take out the hazardous materials at 3 p.m. Order. It is a serious offense to lie during sworn testimony. Also, will the audience please stop jumping on your bouncy balls while the trial is ongoing? What? What? Oh. Jesus Christ! Let him bounce!
Let him bounce.
I can't. Max Calendar, you will tell the truth of your actions during the incident yesterday. You will be held in contempt. Hey, I said what the hell? I thought you were saying hi as Blue Rose again. Oh my God. Your Honor, if I can explain my client's behavior. Max simply didn't want to implicate himself in this crime, so he told a more convenient story that simplifies what really happened. Okay, can I? Oh, what would I object with this about? I don't think I can object, or should object. Because it's autopsy report, duct tape, Ivy's statement. The death's blood pool doesn't mean anything. Her digital, like his lab card being on the floor. That's what really happened, yeah. I'm not gonna object. Actually, I'll save scum. They're trying to weasel their way out of the situation by lying and then claiming to not know any better. By no flocking, she'll probably encourage him to say whatever it would take to get a not guilty verdict. I know, right? Yeah, the fact that he left it, like, he needs it to get in and out of the building, but not in and out of the room. It's a dirty tactic, and this won't be the end of it. I must press on. Regardless, the truth of the matter is that Mr. did leave the room at 3 p.m., just not for the reason he described earlier. If that's the case, then you should explain what really happened to the court immediately. Max, feel free to testify about where you actually moved to now. I'm sorry for misleading you all. The truth is, I went to the server room at 3 p.m. Nothing else really changes about my story. Wrong! Your ID card, motherfucker. The server room? So a space with a lot of computers. That's right. I was trying to avoid doing more work in the lab, and I didn't want anyone to know I was gone. Can't say I'm surprised at this point. But again, how do you still have a job? I made sure to tiptoe so nobody could hear me, and I didn't explain to Abby where I was headed when I left. That's all I know, I swear. Ooh. Are you sure about the time that you left the room? Yes. It's the same as before, around 3 p.m. And you really didn't see anyone else that could be a potential suspect? Well, I saw Ivy in the hallway, but she'd never heard a fly. He's talking about Ivy Field, the co-worker that provided a written statement about Max's history of Mrs. Graviton. Miss Graviton. I think it's becoming clear that my client is not responsible for what happened to Abigail Graviton. Exactly, I have no idea who or what killed my Abby. Like, all these objection things popping up, and I'm like, this isn't the thing I want to object. Should I put up the the crime photo again? I mean, we know the arm did it, or did it? Yeah, like, yeah, you know, I'm fuck it. We've all. Oh yeah, I'm gonna, yeah.
Objection.
That's a blatant lie. Scrolls, do you have anything that can substantiate your assertion? Barring some crazy scenarios, there must have been some sort of commotion when Mrs. Graviton was killed. Considering that fact, only one conclusion makes sense here. I can prove it. The defendant knows more than he's letting on. Shit, I think we misplayed that. We misplayed it! Oh no! Wait, lab for plans. Server room, lab room, testing chamber. If she's behind that desk, might want to save. Oh god, I might want to. Okay, hold on. So we're love it when the. Oh wait, what? Hey, what do you think you're doing? What? Saving a time like this? Isn't that awfully convenient? Wait a minute. I know what this is. I've seen it before, many times. Save scumming. In my game? In the year of our Lord 2025? This is ridiculous. Now, look. I don't want to punish you. Maybe you didn't know. Maybe it was just an accident. Maybe your mouse pointer accidentally moved to the save button at a suspiciously critical moment in the game. But I have a duty to perform. This is fucking amazing. Well, a second thought, a different approach might be better. I don't want to repeat the mistakes of a certain low-poly mole. Do whatever it is you think you have to do. I'm not going to gatekeep how you play your games. Actually, we've all been there before, haven't we? I know I've thrown in a save or two during my tough moments in life. So go off, Queen, go off! I'm like, oh my god, the game just froze. No, I can't! Oh my god. Okay, okay, so we have the floor plan. So server room. Yeah, you need a key card to. I'm good. Yeah, that's it. That's the. I'm going for it. You have to go out in the hall and back in again. Max, please take a look at these floor plans that were provided by the investigation team before we began today. The server room is located just north of the lab where the incident occurred. That's right. Now, where exactly was the victim killed? Considering the lack of blood anywhere else in the room, it must have been where we found her body. If you're really in the server room where Abigail died, why have you testified to hearing the scream from the adjacent room? Oh. I wasn't even thinking that. You're either lying about your true actions at 3 p.m. or you're hiding critical information from the court.
Objection.
I went at it a different way. What an absurd leap of logic. How can you be so sure they would have heard something through the wall separating the two rooms? Recall Mr. Coladera's earlier statement explaining how he entered the server room. He tiptoed in, so nobody knew! He said very specifically that he had to tiptoe to avoid getting heard by his coworkers. It stands to reason that the walls were thin. Fair point, but how do you know that the victim made such a noise in the first place? Depending on the severity of the attack, Abigail might have been too weak to let out a cry at all. And if that's the case, she must have been attacked by surprise. However, all that assumes that the defendant is telling the truth. There's not enough clarity to come to a conclusion at this point. Mr. Coladera, if you want us to believe your most recent statement, you will need to testify in greater detail. What a waste of detail. Okay, we've got the spirit. We're getting there in a roundabout way. I was thinking the key card to go in, and it would cut, but no, it's because, oh hey, you couldn't hear anything. That last remark didn't make sense. Please skip the comebacks and simply speak about your whereabouts yesterday afternoon. I'd like to cross-examine this testimony, Your Honor. Permission granted. Please, proceed. Okay. Oh my god. I love that the little save's coming. That's it, but I don't know anything more that can track down the true killer. Okay. When I entered the lab, I saw that Abby was working diligently on some routines that were supposed to aid in our testing process. I wasn't going to be of much help, so I tried looking into machine assembly. I'm not all that good with computers. Sometime after that, I got bored and decided to take a break. The time was 3 p.m., I'm sure of it. I kept quiet as I moved into the secure server room, hoping that no one would notice I was missing. I have to! I don't care if I'm wrong, it's calling to me! How do I do it again on the controller? I tried tab, yeah, it's there, but, or is it Q? No. Oh, say the first, okay, cool. It's been forever since I played those games. That's it. That's where we're gonna catch him. As far as noise concerned, there's plenty of computers whirring in the area. That's why I couldn't hear anything from the other room. The only one I saw in the hallway was Ivy Field. She glanced over but didn't say anything to me. Sometime later, I stepped outside, only to find a crowd of people blocking the door to the lab. I never got to say goodbye. Okay. Are you sure you passed it? Meow sticks. You never re-entered the room once the crowd had gathered? Yeah, I couldn't believe my eyes, so I started crying. I was in the hallway until the police arrived. And what about Ivy Field? You mentioned that you spotted her in the hallway. Yeah, I did. That was around 3 p.m., but I can't recall seeing her after that. Reese's Puffs. Everything seems reasonable. Could it really be? Is this a dead end? No. There must be some inconsistency I can use to learn something. I must not doubt my initial deduction. With no pressing concerns about the validity of your statements, we can proceed with the cross-examination. Find the truth. Okay, yeah, I forgot. You gotta go through it first, then you can... Yep, that's right, okay. I'm just so excited about... Yep, there it is, yes! Present!
Objection.
You claim to have entered the secure server room at the time of the incident, but that can't be true. What? Why not? Earlier today, you mentioned that a Tactile Synthetics employee ID card was required to enter secure rooms, and if that's true, there's no way you could have passed through those doors if your ID card was dropped by mistake at the scene of the crime. Get him! Get him! My goodness, you're correct! Defendant, you claim to have remained outside the lab once the body had been discovered. How is it your ID card was found at the crime scene if you took it with you when you entered the server room? I could explain. I shouldn't have doubted myself. Max Coladera must be the true culprit behind this murder. Or it's Ivy Field in a fit of jealousy, who set up the the electromagnet to shoot the arm across the way. I would deliver justice to the victim of this heinous crime. Must have been a ghost. Admit it, Mr. Coladera. You're the one that used the robotic arm to kill Abigail. Urgent update, sir. Oh God, it's the updated autopsy report. Autopsy report. The investigation team has discovered something. Huh? Further evidence from the crime scene. That's correct, sir. A system report proves that the entire building underwent a power outage at approximately 3:02 p.m. yesterday. So it couldn't have been the arm. A power outage that lasted 10 minutes, and we know the victim died at 3:06. But if there's no electricity powering the lab, then that means...
Objection.
Ah! Well, Cross, I'm afraid the end is nigh. Is there a horse in here? Nay! If this evidence to be believed, there is no way for the robotic arm to function properly at the moment Mrs. Graviton was attacked. Ms. Graviton. In other words, the method of murder you previously described is impossible. My client is clearly innocent. Did she say the end is nay? Oh my God, I was thinking, oh, the end is nigh, yeah, because I know how to read. No, this can't be happening. How did Coladera pulled off this 90-mile-per-hour strike if not for the robotic arm? We might have to rethink everything from the ground up. I feel dumb now. It's clear the court cannot come to a consensus about how the crime was carried out, much less who was responsible. I've come to the conclusion that we must extend this trial to allow for further investigation to be conducted. Crap, more time might allow me to gather more evidence, but it also creates an opportunity for the defense to fabricate more lies. I can't let that happen. This trial must continue. Your Honor, we can't end this here. Good heavens! What's that? Ah, what's that? Everyone, please remain seated until we can confirm the situation. It felt like the shockwave of a bomb. No, why is this happening? Please remain calm. The security team will provide assistance to anyone in need. Could it be someone attempting to interfere with the trial? It is Japanifornia. Just when I thought I had everything figured out, the whole case started to fall apart. I wasn't under any delusion that this would be easy, but I knew that I had to keep pushing forward. I had to be the one to deliver justice. Because I couldn't trust anyone else to see the world as I did. Oh yeah, that was from when we played. I gotta change it. Give me 1 second here to deal with that. There we go. Also, for those of you who are interested in this game, period. Put a little link there. This is pretty killer. This is a pretty killer game. Order the court. It has now been 30 minutes since the explosion. I will explain the situation in full so that those of you in the audience can determine whether you wish to leave. First, the bomb was detonated outside in the courthouse parking lot, decimating the vehicle that carried it. It was a bomb. The police have concluded that it was likely not a direct attack, but meant to send some sort of message to the legal professionals. We conducted a thorough search of the building and surrounding area, and found nothing that could indicate the presence of another bomb. Given this information, we believe that it is safe to continue as normal. They're still on their bouncy balls. In years past, a situation like this would have involved evacuating the courtroom and waiting until a later date to continue the trial. I feel validated. But ever since the course started accelerating and mystery solving became televised for entertainment, everything has been dramatized for the public. Oh, it's terrible that they put the rapid conclusion of the trial above the safety of the audience, but this at least buys me enough time to turn this around. Your Honor, I believe you're about to grant us an additional day to investigate the scene, but I don't believe it's necessary anymore. During the break, I had a chance to talk to the investigation team. They provided a few crucial leads that could move this case along. Given that the explosion occurred outside, I actually feel a bit safer inside of on this kingly throne. What? But you're the most visible target in the room! Very well. So long as it furthers the discussion, you may explore other avenues for the time being. Thank you, Your Honor. To begin, I'd like to share an update from the security staff in charge of the witness operations. During the explosion that just occurred, a witness who was prepared to testify attempted to flee the building. Was it Ivy? Pitiful. No criminal could escape the cold grasp of justice. I wouldn't be so quick to assume. Is this one of the two individuals who had an unconfirmed alibi at 3 p.m. yesterday? That's correct, Counselor. We've already heard about Ivy Field, but this new witness wasn't relevant until now. Oh, so many different. Another witness in this perplexing science-themed crime? Let me guess. Is his name Mr. Physics or something? No, his name is Dean Barron. That's not any better. Mr. Barron, is it Baryon or Barron? Was delivering packages on the day of the incident and was inside the building when the police arrived. I think somebody heard his side of the story, since it might lead to more clues about the true cause of death. I'm like, there's no reason to object, let's go with it. Regardless of what I believe about the true culprit, it is suspicious for Dean Barron to run away from his testimony. In that sense, we have to consider all angles and determine the truth through our collective interpretation of the events. Very well, please bring the witness to the stand at once. Yeah? Dean Barron, it is our understanding that you were present at the Tactile Synthetics Lab yesterday at 3 p.m. We've also learned that you attempted to flee the courthouse during the explosion that occurred in the parking lot today. Right. Please explain yourself. Did you have anything to do with the murder of Abigail Graviton? No. Not much of a talker, it seems, but we still have a job to do. Is there any way you can elaborate further on your side of the story? No. Well, it was worth a shot. Mr. Barron, you have been called to testify in a murder trial. Explain yourself or you will have no choice but to assume the worst. A Barron is... oh my god, of course it is. Wheelman. Alright. Barron's backstory. I deliver packages. I was there yesterday delivering a package. That's it. I didn't do it. That's it! Well, if he said he didn't do it...
Objection.
Nice try, Cross. Unfortunately, we'll need more than that. What is it you were delivering, if you don't mind me asking? Equipment. What kind of equipment? Usual orders for the lab, specifically a new electromagnet! The court has come into possession of the package that Mr. Barron was carrying when he was questioned by the police around 4 p.m. I'll add to the public record now. Okay, let's take a look at it. Contains a battery-powered electromagnet. Whoo! Got him! So it seems like delivery to the lab was a common occurrence for Barron. If that's the case, then what else could he know about the movements of the defendant? When you were delivering the package yesterday, did the building staff let you in through the front lobby? Meow sticks. Oh yeah? And what time was that? Around 2:30 p.m. Well, you know, it says it was in the testing room. So what happened was... Actually, hold on a sec. Look at this. Hold on a second. Robotics lab layout. Okay, so that's the lab room. I'm trying to think here. So they found the duct tape in the testing chamber, so the battery would have had to have been in the testing chamber. And they said that her body was behind this main desk, but that... I'm trying to think here how it would work. Because I don't think that's in front of... Because if you look at the... That's the big desk in the middle. That's not the same layout as the floor plan. Like, if you can kind of see... There's not really... There's a big desk in the back, like right around... Oh, you can't see my mouse. Hold on a second. Okay, so... Alright, so from what I can tell in the picture... Is this point of view looking up towards the back here? So her body is behind the desk here. Now, the testing chamber is down here, and that's where they found the duct tape. So it doesn't make much... But he... I thought he got there at 3. Might not be worth objecting. Sounds reasonable to me.
Objection.
Isn't that a little suspicious? Think about the timeline here. What do you mean? Considering the evidence that I just presented to the court, it was acquired by the police after the murder occurred. If Dean entered the building at 2:30, why would he have spent more than 30 minutes to drop it off? Oh shit, I fucked up. Firstly, we're looking at the truth to further its case? What? No! I'm afraid I'm not convinced. You will not receive a penalty to satiate my thirst for punishment. I'll just be the punching bag then. In any case, we should process this new information. Witness, you need to explain yourself. The instructions were clear. I was supposed to open it and on delivery. But the lab was occupied when I arrived. I didn't want to interrupt. Accident applicant were working there before 3 p.m. Should have saved some. Threw the package in the hallway and waited. After some time, I used the bathroom and returned to find a crowd. I wonder if it was supposed to be for somebody else. So the electromagnetic, the power goes out, electromagnetic package is open. Let's leave my package on the floor where the police found me. That was an hour later. So you had unrestricted access to the crime scene at the time of the murder? I didn't do it. If that's the case, is anyone able to corroborate your story? You mentioned visiting the bathroom. Yeah, I saw someone. It was Ivy Field. Hey, Wildcat, how you doing, man? It's Field again. And will she be able to verify your movements at 3 p.m.? I don't know. Maybe she didn't notice me. He delivers there all the time, is what he said. So I assume he would have a familiarity with some employees, maybe. The absence of solid proof. You must speak in greater detail about your actions yesterday afternoon. Sure. I'd like to cross-examine this testimony, Your Honor. Granted. Now, please leave nothing omitted.